podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Hey, Paul. Don't know about you, but I think I may be starting to lose it. I've blended into the telly.
I am half man, half football, and I'm all about it. I've got absolutely no problem at this point with being half man, half football.
A festival of football.
Yeah.
A feast of football.
I mean, it's just amazing, isn't it? So I have not watched 17 games. Oh, Spain have just scored. Diego Costa has just given Spain the lead against Iran.
Yeah, timestamp.
Yeah, if you want to know exactly when we're recording this show, because it would be impossible for us to miss the second half of Iran-Spain in order to talk about the World Cup. That would seem weirdly counterintuitive. So I haven't watched every game by any means because real life has got in the way of work, and also I went to a wedding at the weekend, although I did manage to watch quite a lot of football around that. But I certainly have watched an awful lot. That
what kind of selfish couple gets married during the World Cup? It's not like this wasn't flagged sometime in advance. Ooh, is that a Diego Costa goal? It might be an own goal.
Yeah, it might be.
No, it's off his shins. All right.
So
he's chasing Ronnie down for the golden boot.
I can't believe I'm saying this, right? But can we start with England?
Ooh, controversial. All right, yeah, let's talk about England. England, who won 2-1 against Tunisia with a very, very late Harry Kane goal.
Producer Tom has gone full It's Coming Home and said he enjoyed spells of that game as much as any England game since Euro 96. And Sam Tighe of Bleacher Report said that he thought that some of the spell, there was a spell in the first half in which England were as good as pretty much any team has been so far in this World Cup. Of course, that didn't last the 90 minutes, but that first half was pretty incredible, I thought.
This is producer Tom Jenkins. He's clearly Welsh. Clearly. I'm not having any arguments about it. Look, for a period during the first half, England were really, really excellent. And obviously, the game changed in the second half. I think a lot of that, to be fair to England, was down to Tunisia changing their tactics and trying to shut the game down, which they did pretty successfully. And this is in the context of many of the big teams struggling. Germany lost, Brazil drew, France were pretty mediocre in winning. Spain currently beating Iran, but it's been tough for them to this point.
Yeah, they drew their opener, obviously.
And they drew their opener against a pretty limited Portugal side, so albeit with Ronaldo plus 10 others. So in the context of some of the big sides, not exactly pulling up trees, I thought England were excellent during that first half. And in the end, got a win that they deserved for persistence. The challenge for them is can they break down sides who do that, because Panama are going to do a similar thing.
In that first half, I thought the performance was relatively complete. I mean, I don't know if we disagree or not. The Kyle Walker thing, I think that's a pen for sure. And it's silly from Walker, who's kind of not under a great deal of pressure. I guess you could say it's quite a softish pen. We might come on to this a bit later, a couple of times. But I think that is definitely a penalty. I think that was more or less the only thing England did wrong in the whole of the first half. And by the end of the first half, the XG was like 2.4 for England and 0.92, all of which was the penalty for Tunisia. I'm not sure they had another shot, maybe one other.
They did, but blocked, and I think nothing on target. But all of their XG was the pen. Well, it's definitely on the very soft side for a pen. And Walker explained it fair enough afterwards. He said he was just trying to shield the ball, and it happened to be that his arm caught the guy's face. So.
I think if you look at the how far he goes with his arm, like he goes behind his back with his arm, like his arm stretches quite a long way out of the way, and maybe that makes it just look worse than it actually was. But yeah, I'm not sure he was trying to elbow him in the face, but intent doesn't matter, does it, in that situation?
Yeah, the dude went down like he was shot, of course, but everyone does that. In any case, VAR came to Tunisia's rescue there. It didn't come to England's rescue, with Tunisia doing an awful lot of wrestling. Obviously, massively highlighted by English TV. Of course, we'd expect that. But there's at least two in there that, if the referee had seen them, and you'd think the 5 extra officials who are looking at TV screens in the VAR studio back in Moscow, if they'd seen them, they'd have spotted those fouls too.
It was quite strange. I mean, I think we maybe sort of slightly fundamentally disagree on VAR. I mean, I think its implementation at the World Cup has, for the most part, led to fewer wrong decisions so far, and not that much in the way of like real frustration or terrible moments where a goal's like massively enthusiastically celebrated and then is ruled out. It seemed to me to be quite sane, and the refereeing has been a pretty good standard, I think, apart from, both in terms of VAR and the refereeing of the game. I thought the England-Tunisia game was genuinely one of the worst refereed games. There wasn't enough protection being given, and the Tunisia were basically just allowed to completely spoil in the second half, and there were a few yellow cards I thought were owing that didn't get dished out.
Yeah, well, I think the referee gave Tunisia an awful lot of leeway in that game to spoil the game and to be physical, and VAR didn't come to England's rescue there. It didn't stop the wrestling in the penalty area. My problem with VAR isn't that it corrects bad decisions, right? For the most part, that's good when that happens. My problem is that actually all it does is change one interpretation, the one of the referee on the pitch, to the one of the interpretation of VAR after it to being the controversy. And there's too many examples when that's the case for me, which is just a problem, right? So you've still got humans interpreting something. So the Kyle Walker one is a good example, So it's a matter of inches from chest to face. You are allowed to hand off. That's not a penalty. Right, the contact doesn't make the guy go down.
We might have some VAR action right now, to be fair, because Iran have just scored a goal and it looked like there was a hint of offside in the build-up, and they are celebrating like abso crazy right now.
Yeah, and then what is sent to VAR is a problem too. And then the fact that when it goes to VAR, they don't spot everything because they're under-resourced, or they can't do it, or they haven't been asked to do it by the referee. So it's the inconsistencies that are the problem for me. If it fixes a thing where the ball has gone over the line, or is offside or not offside in the build-up, or the penalty was in or out, which happened with the Japan game, which was an excellent use of VAR. Referee called it out. It was clearly the foul continued in. Clearly VAR fixed that. That's great. But the rest of it makes it a bit of a farce sometimes, I think, and doesn't help the game or the players, and just changes the controversy to being about the referee to being about the VAR referee.
It's hilarious that we're having this discussion as this is literally happening in real time in this Iran-Spain game. Like, it's literally happening in front of our eyes as we speak, because there's a lot of very perplexed and worried-looking Iranians, and we're about to get either great disappointment or a second wild celebration, I'd imagine. There was one, we'll come back to the England game, but there was one big VAR decision which I think you and I disagreed on profoundly, which was the France penalty. And I'm trying to take off my blue-tinted spectacles here. I really did think that it was a penalty because of the way the Australian player's leg comes flying up afterwards. And I was pleased that you had like Phil Neville and Mark Lawrenson on your side, and I had a load of much more respectable pundits on my side.
yeah, of course he just got the ball. So I'm like, fair tackle, mate. And the France player runs into the Australian player's leg, because there's momentum. So that was even softer than the England penalty for me, and I just like it clear. It was that clear and obvious as an error. Absolutely not. And this is what I'm talking about, really. So, we could be arguing about that with the referee making the decision, or we can be arguing about that with a referee in front of the TV making the decision, having waited 2 minutes for the decision to be made. Anyway, Iran's goal got chalked off.
Yep.
They are now very angry.
Yep.
And not just because the Iranian nuclear deal has collapsed.
You wouldn't like them when they're angry. So to come back to England, the beginning of the second half, after this kind of... I mean, the first half was really like everything I could have hoped for in terms of my expectations going into this. I think we talked a little bit about having some degree of optimism for England, not in terms of like, oh, we're going to win the World Cup, football's coming home, but in the sense of actually this might be a group of players that doesn't leave you feeling icky for watching them, like, which has been the case recently. Like, it's not going to be boring and they're not going to be sort of weirdly detached. That there is clearly a good team spirit and it was clearly visible and they were bright and energetic. Our boy Jesse Lingard, his movement off the ball superb, his execution with the ball quite poor.
His finishing, man. Look, his finishing has improved over time, because that was a big criticism of him, and this game wasn't so great. He got a lot of stick for that, but there's no other player in the England squad that makes those third man runs. None, right? Everyone else wants it into feet, which is an awful problem if you're trying to break down a team that doesn't want to allow you space in behind them. Even Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who had a very good cameo, wants the ball into feet as well. So Lingard's the only one who will run without it. And that's why Southgate's going to pick him, because it gives a lot of, he attacks space. Everyone else wants the ball. When you attack space, the players have to think in an extra dimension, the defensive players. And that's really important for England. He had a good game, apart from the finishing, as did all of the back three. Yeah, I know Walker's been punished for the handoff. But Maguire was excellent, I thought. I think he's a very, very good, fast-maturing player. I'm sure he'll be on his way to a bigger club in Leicester soon. Pickford basically didn't have anything to do in goals. Stones was fine in the middle. Henderson in front of the back four, I think he's a problem when you want to recycle the ball quicker. He's slow in possession, right? He's no Michael Carrick, and his range of passing is pretty limited. It's kind of why I was surprised that Dyer didn't play, because I think he has a better range of passing.
I thought Henderson's range of passing was actually quite good against Tunisia. I mean, he's not a brilliant player. Interestingly enough, I'm pretty sure that Iran goal was correctly ruled out there, which, I don't know, there's something to be said for that. Anyway.
But that's binary. That's yes or no. Was it over the line? Yes or no?
No.
Was it inside the area or not inside the area? Yes or no? Was it offside or not offside? Yeah. Yes or no? Was that handoff intentional? Yes or no? No, it's an opinion. Did the player catch his leg in a follow-through, or was it a fair tackle? Opinion, right? And I think this is the point I'm making.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously, it's
doesn't help the referee in that.
It's the point that everyone's making, isn't it? That's the key criticism of VAR. So to finish off on the England game, I thought that the slow part at the beginning of the second half, that there were three reasons for that. One, as you've said, Tunisia really changed their style. Secondly, I genuinely think that England players tired from a combination of the fact that it was really, really hot, and they must have expended a vast amount of emotional energy. This is where having a team that is kind of more inexperienced there is a consequence to that, although I think in net it's a massive positive, but one of the consequences is they're going to be absolutely exhausted after they finish playing their first ever World Cup game. So I'm not surprised that some of them tired. And the third was just that Ali was injured, and I don't quite understand why Southgate didn't do something about Sterling and Ali a bit quicker. Once he did, though, what was really heartening about this is when's the last time we could say an England manager has seen a problem and had the resources to change it? Because once Loftus-Cheek and Rashford come on, it's a different game. And England absolutely deserved to win that game. And also, the final thing, to actually show the resilience to dig out and get the win. I mean, there was a bit of good fortune in that Kane, having been wrestled for every corner, was just unmarked somehow. But that isn't what England have done. England have drawn that game, metaphorically speaking, so many times since the late 90s,
Yeah, sure. I mean, Southgate will look on that's all the positive. On the less positive side, Southgate will look at that second half and say, didn't create a lot of chances there, except from set pieces, So They'll want to do more of what they did in the first half, which was create from open play. Anyway, that's England. They play again on, was it Monday? Monday night.
Sunday night. Sunday afternoon, actually, 1:00. I know
Sunday
this because
afternoon.
I've just made plans for what I'm doing for that game. That's how I know that.
Yeah, at that point I will be just landing into Shenzhen, I think. I'm going to be in China for a few days during the World Cup. Annoying, I have to say. Shall we go through some of the groups? Group A.
I was just going to say something before that. Before we get into the football, talking of people who are annoyed that they're not spending the World Cup where they maybe thought they would, Spain aren't managed by the same person that they were managed by when we did the preview show. Have you ever seen anything like that in all your days, Ed?
No, absolutely bizarre. And having spoken to a couple of Spanish people at my work, admittedly one of them is an Atletico fan, so may have had a certainly skewed opinion of this one. Everyone seems to think that this is just a power play by the president of the FA, and he's been in the job 2 months and he just wants to show he's Billy Big Balls. And can make some huge decision and cause some consternation in the camp. I'm quite sure that the players would have preferred to have the manager in situ. Like, it's not like it's unusual for a manager to change after a tournament, or even for it to be announced beforehand. So this is the president feeling slighted because Real Madrid have gone behind his back, and so has the manager. And, it's bad communication. And really, they should have just done the deal and said, look, I'm leaving afterwards, like Louis did with the Netherlands before the last World Cup, when everyone knew he was joining United. It didn't reduce his motivation, or the players, did it?
I guess the only difference between that situation, because we had this chat, didn't we? And I definitely thought the same thing. But I guess the only difference between that and this situation is this was the Dutch manager joining United rather than like the Dutch manager joining PSV or Ajax next. Spain have had this massive problem in recent years, largely thanks to our current manager, it has to be said, where the national team was really affected by the intensity of the rivalry between Barcelona and Real Madrid. So, the kind of balance of the squad, you could say there would be some issues around, his use of Asensio and Isco and Piqué and Ramos and all that kind of malarkey. But still, I think you're right. Surely the players would have just preferred it if he'd stayed. Yeah,
bizarre. Anyway, it might change some of the thinking, really. I mean, they looks like they're going to beat Iran, and that put them in a good position with only Morocco to come. But from being my favourites for the tournament, it's hard to say that's true. I mean, they'll manage themselves to some degree, but when it goes wrong, if it goes wrong, you wonder whether Hierro has the sort of ear of the players, because he was a technical director. It's not as if he was even on the coaching staff. Anyway, Group A, we had the game of death. The death if you're against the political powers. That is Russia 5, Saudi Arabia 0 to open the tournament.
I mean, the thing I will remember about that game for the rest of my days is the camera consistently cutting to Putin and the new Saudi crown prince, with Gianni Infantino sat in between them, with sort of Putin looking kind of slightly patronisingly apologetic every time Russia scored.
Yeah. I'm not sure I'd have picked that seat. Maybe Infantino didn't really have much of a choice. I'm sure he didn't. Easy victory for Russia, who have actually been surprisingly good in this tournament. Although I looked at it went around on Twitter today, the amount of kilometres done by each of the teams in Russia are some distance ahead of anyone else, which is interesting.
Home side, home advantage.
Home advantage, making them run faster and faster. Yeah, it must be that. Absolutely nothing to do with the 20 years of state doping. Definitely not that.
To be clear, though, that data did not show them running faster and further. It just showed them running further, because they are definitely not running faster.
No, 38-year-olds in the centre of defence. But some of the players have performed above their normal standard, and certainly the standard of the Russian team over the last couple of years. And, rightly, a lot of people were questioning whether they'd be able to get out of this group. As it turns out, Saudi Arabia are awful.
Yeah.
Egypt only slightly better. And Uruguay aren't that much cop either because they only just sneaked past Saudi Arabia today.
And that result is really remarkable. So we are at the stage now where everyone's played once, and we've seen the second lot of Group A games. And I guess by the time we finish recording the second lot of Group B games too. But that Uruguay-Egypt result, Uruguay-Saudi Arabia result is in a way one of the most extraordinary of the tournament so far, because the way that Saudi Arabia played against Russia, I mean, they were just absolutely hopeless defensively. There were a few moments where they had some slight bright technical attacking play. Didn't lead to much, but it was there. But defensively, their organisation was absolutely dismal. Like, one thing we know for sure, a lot of hype before the tournament about Golovin. We definitely know he's brilliant if there are no defenders. With two goals and one goal and two very fine assists. Like, fantastic performance from him in that game. Yeah,
be wary any purchasers, I'd say.
Yeah, buyer beware.
Him. Yeah, certainly. Not an awful lot of quality in these games, got to say.
No.
Russia had an XG of like 1.9 in that 5-0.
Yeah. But I mean, and in fact, like the quality was in those moments, because almost all the goals were really good in that game. Yep. You can't say that for the Egypt game. The first one, an absolutely disastrous comedy of errors. So Group B, this brings us to, I guess, the second game, which we're going to talk about in some detail. I was driving up to Leeds when this game was going on, and in the car on my own, listening to the radio, went absolutely nuts when Ronaldo scored the equaliser. I don't even really like him that much. Like, I'm not a big Ronaldo fanboy, but for some reason, it was just pure drama, that, wasn't it?
Oh, it's an extraordinary game. Again, an awful lot of mistakes on both sides here, but Ronaldo scores with a penalty, and I have to say a very fortunate other goal. And then that stunning free kick to equalise it at 3-3, and it sort of force of will sucked it into the top corner, didn't it?
Was that the first outing of any United player in the tournament? I think it might have been.
Are we still calling him a United player?
Why?
United associated player.
Why no, not him. Not him. The guy on the other end of the goal that was
you're talking about De Gea.
Yeah.
So lost the clause you were talking about there. Yeah, sure. And of course he made a total rick, didn't he?
Absolutely.
Letting it run through him. Absolutely howler. And there's been a lot of debate in Spain about dropping De Gea. Which didn't happen and would be mental. He's been the best goalkeeper on the planet for the last 3 years, and he makes one mistake, which of course he's done for Spain before, which is part of why the sort of negative narrative is built around him.
You said in the preview, he's just made a kind of high-profile Rick, and I was like, he'll be fine, he's David Dare, he's brilliant. And then he just absolutely spilled one in for Ronnie. But that game, so Portugal got off to a flyer, another very soft penalty, in my opinion, given by VAR, where Ronaldo kind of fully bought that penalty. I'm not saying it was a dive, as in there was no contact or anything.
He bought it, but it's a penalty.
Yeah, if that's a penalty, the France one definitely is.
No, completely different. Completely different. This is, the France one's momentum, and this one is he's got himself a penalty in the traditional way, which is the defender hasn't been able to get out of the way quick enough and should have got out of the way.
So that started the scoring. Costa with a lovely goal. And like, all the talk of whether Costa fits into Spain belongs in 2014 now. Like, Costa is part of the Spanish setup now. And they played to his strengths. I mean, he scored again against Iran here. His first goal was a real bit of quality, and used his particular version of quality too, like the handoff and all that he did in the build up to that. Then he gets the scrappy one to put him in front. Then De Gea makes the Rick. Then Nacho scores an absolute wonder goal. What a hit from Nacho. The kind of trajectory to keep it that flat when you hit it like that. A real moment of quality, I thought. And then,
and rewarded by being dropped for the next game, of course.
And then Spain really started to turn it on. and we had the ridiculous number of passes, so 700 passes completed by Spain across the course of that game. Like that's almost twice as many it's more than twice as many. Portugal completed 307, and they just looked they looked like the favourites for the World Cup for about 10 minutes. Spain did. They just really turned it on, but they couldn't get another. And in the end, cometh the hour, cometh the man who definitely believes he's the man. Everyone in the world saying in the build up to that, he never scores free kicks. I know I was like, I kind of got a bit like of a nervous tingle in my tummy. And then I was thinking, he's not going to score this. He never scores free kicks. But of course, the narrative, the power of narrative compelled it.
Yeah, interesting. He didn't put his boot through it, which is what he normally does. Hits the knuckleball. He's bent this one in, and it looks even better every time you look at it.
It was a
side foot.
It was a knuckleball though. It wasn't.
No, it's fully with the side foot.
Yeah, but it's his It's a knuckleball. It's a side foot knuckleball. It's not a Beckham bent round the wall into the top corner. It's an up and down, isn't it?
I don't think that's the knuckleball.
Okay.
This is up and down, and it's bending from right to left, only from right to left. So It's not the whip that Beckham puts on it, but that's just style. This is with the instep. It's not with the top of his foot, and definitely a different technique than normal.
Yeah. And
or would you like VAR to check that one out for you?
But lovely, just an amazing and just a genuine, absolute all-time classic World Cup group stage game that we'll all remember forever. And then like kids whose first World Cup this is will be like, oh, I remember that Portugal-Spain game, man, that was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, let's not dwell on the rest of the group because we've got an awful lot to talk about. But very, very late winner for Iran over Morocco. Pretty dramatic, that one.
So disappointing because I really thought Morocco were going to do something in this World Cup. And watching that game, there was every reason to think it. And again today, Morocco kind of really unlucky against Portugal.
They played even better against Portugal, I think. And, Ronaldo's very early header was enough. And that was much more of a Portugal performance, wasn't it? The Portugal we know from Euro 2016. Group C, France lucked their way to a win over plucky Australia.
Listen, that's a little strong. I mean, there was an element of fortune about both goals, but there was no doubt about who the better side was.
Apart from the fact that their winning goal and their opening goal were completely off the scale fortunate.
No, the first goal is a pen. It is a pen. The ball is knocked. The ball is knocked out of his feet.
We've been arguing about this for a week, and you're still wrong.
No, you're wrong. It is in fact you sit there in your wrongness and be wrong. That is a penalty.
Wrong. And then Denmark, very narrow win over Peru with a fairly late goal.
I'm not prepared to just skip over France this quickly. I'm sorry.
Well, I've got nothing to say about them.
I've got a little bit to say about them. First of all, Didier Deschamps is a terrible person who is reportedly planning to play Blaise Matuidi on left wing, which will have me crying into my red, white, and blue handkerchief here. But
you got this Peru side. You got to make sure you defend on that left side, don't you?
One thing that's interesting.
Imagine not taking Martial and then playing Matuidi on left wing. Let's see if it happens. But yeah,
the thing about the Australia game was he clearly went for priority. We talked about this before, but he went for prioritising Pogba over Griezmann. So Griezmann played on the right of the front three, and Pogba played, on the left of a midfield three. And Dembele didn't play very well, so France's kind of front three looked a bit lacking. And Pogba had a really odd game because for large parts of it, he was quite quiet and he was playing quite deep. But it's his beautiful through, whatever you think about the penalty, it's a beautiful ball that Pogba puts through to win that penalty. And of course, although he was quite lucky that the ball went where it did from his shot, it is him that scores the winner. So, essentially you're talking about an assist and a goal from Pogba in what was like not a brilliant performance. So you could say from Deschamps' point of view, okay, job done. It was worth prioritising Pogba, but I don't think he's going to do that again because the team just didn't look, that balance in midfield just wasn't there. And, I'm worried about Pogba both in this World Cup and beyond, which is very sad to say. Anyway, let's move away from Les Bleus, who will be in action again tomorrow.
Yeah, at Group D we had a game I really enjoyed, which was Argentina versus Iceland.
Yes,
not the highest quality of football, but I mean, you got Iceland who haven't got a single player under 6 foot. giant men playing against a few Didi men on the Argentine side, although they're not exactly Spain, are they? But, Messi missing a penalty, Iceland scoring an equaliser. Great drama.
Absolutely amazing. And, you said before the game, it was like free money betting on Messi scoring here. I think everyone thought the same, especially after Ronaldo got the hat-trick. And it's an offensive narrative, but it is there. You're not going to get rid of it. So everyone was looking at Messi after Ronaldo scored his hat-trick, and Messi absolutely blew it. And as I think it was a Football Ramble where I heard this, but I think it's been sort of said quite widely, Ronaldo's performance for Portugal was a kind of line-leading team performance. Messi was trying to do it all for Argentina.
Yeah, he really was, yeah. Much like, actually, we kind of skipped over... Well, no, we'll come to Brazil, won't we?
Yeah.
Much like Neymar for Brazil, who's even worse in that kind of schoolboyish, I want the ball all the time kind of aspect to his play. So, yeah, I think that's a problem for Messi. He's got to integrate into the team.
He's double and triple marked, and they're leaving Dybala on the bench because he and Messi don't gel, but then you're losing this like big amount of quality. Mm-hmm. It's not good for them, and that is a terrible result in that group, especially since you just do not know what's going to happen. Like Iceland could definitely beat Nigeria.
Oh yeah, Nigeria were horrendous against Croatia. I think everyone expected just a bit more. Croatia are a good side, and they have some very good players, especially in midfield, obviously. And but they just completely dominated that game, and Nigeria were nowhere.
Yeah.
Very, very disappointing. So yeah, of course Iceland could beat them playing them on Friday. That would give Iceland, if that happened, Iceland would be on 4 points in a very strong position, and Argentina would be in desperate trouble if they managed to draw or lose with Croatia.
Which is like easily imaginable at this point. It's been almost that we've talked about these in kind of specific terms, but in more general terms, it's clearly been the defining quality of the first round of games is that we predicted that I think only France out of any of our semi-finalists won, out of our predicted semi-finalists won, and they won very labouredly against a very limited Australia side, so...
All right, let's get to Group B. And, Costa Rica-Serbia wasn't much, was it, as a game?
Didn't see any of that one.
But Brazil-Switzerland I enjoyed.
Yeah, one thing I didn't enjoy, I mentioned earlier that I thought the refereeing had been pretty good. I actually thought the refereeing here was very poor, and that Switzerland were allowed to kind of get away with murder on Neymar, to be fair. They rotated their fouls or whatever, but you're not supposed to be able to get away with that anymore. So I was disappointed that Neymar was kind of given so little protection.
Yeah, big wuss. No, he got fouled 20 times or something ridiculous like that, which is a lot.
Yeah.
But I thought overall, fouls aside, I thought his performance was very poor because he's trying to dwell on the ball, he's trying tricks in the wrong sort of context of the game. You kind of almost wonder if there's some talk about him not being fit for the next game, right, against Costa Rica. If he's not in, it might actually give Brazil a better balance, although obviously you're losing a huge amount of quality.
The first kind of 20 minutes of that game, and like emphasised by the incredible quality of the Coutinho goal, like it was like, okay, here we go. Now one of the big boys has turned up. Have we skipped over? Hadn't Germany-Mexico already happened by this point? Have we skipped a group?
No, that's in Group F.
Oh, okay. So that game hadn't happened.
Germany-Mexico was during the day on Sunday, and Brazil-Switzerland was the evening game.
Right, okay, so the groups were mixed and matched. Because I was thinking, this was like, you're thinking, okay, so Spain haven't won, Germany have lost, France have really laboured, but Brazil are here. But then in the second half, like you said, Neymar was just running into blind alleys. Switzerland were really well organised, and they got their equaliser and were good value for 1-1. Like, it was... Doesn't seem like
I don't think so. And I think so. And, the Championship's star player, Shaqiri, was pretty good in that. It looks like he's put on a bit of weight.
Do you think Shaqiri was good in that game?
Oh, he was okay. But he's the player they go to a lot, isn't he? He's they haven't got too many creative players. They're a pretty functional side, Switzerland. I don't think this is an open side. No, I don't think they'll look very open in other games either. So he's the player they tend to go to set up attacks.
Right. So he got the assist and made 3 key passes, I guess. I don't know. I thought his overall performance was a bit questionable, to be fair. And they benefited more from like good overall team ethic kind of thing than any particular individual performance. Oh, Granit Xhaka was garbage.
He was, and as was the forward, Seferovic. I thought he offered nothing. He just wasn't, what he needed really was to make it stick. I mean, better in the second half, I'd say.
Birame, I thought, he was one of the players doing an absolute number on Neymar, but, it worked. And if the referees, he got booked in the end, but if the referee's going to...
He got booked and he's old and they did the right thing to take him off, I think.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'd have been ending up with 10 men.
Yeah, but they got away through that game with a remarkable 1-1, and I just it's going to be fascinating to see how that affects Brazil going forward, because a lot of kind of mental hang-ups in that Brazil side, you would imagine after last time. But
they claim that there isn't, because actually there weren't too many in that side that played in that 7-1 game.
Right,
but and then you prefaced Group F, Germany losing to Mexico. This was drama, wasn't it?
I mean, this is one of the games of the tournament by miles. Like the 3-0 was obviously the best game. I really enjoyed that England game. I think this one's next on the list, or maybe even above the England game, just in terms of sheer... I'm having the England game with the last-minute winner. But, if Mexico... I mean, this is not an original thought. Everyone has been saying this. But if Mexico had any kind of decision-making in the final third, or any kind of calmness of execution on the counter-attack, they'd have won that game 4-5-0. It just ripped Germany apart over and over again and then blew it at the last minute. Like, the XG is quite low because a lot of it didn't lead to shooting chances, but... My goodness.
Yeah, I mean, they should have been more clinical in those breaks. I mean, they were very good up until the final third, weren't they? I mean, Mats Hummels, I thought he was pretty stark, really, and actually, without naming Joachim Low, was quite critical of the manager by saying, I said beforehand that we were far too open in those situations. He's going to have to change it up. They're going to have to put someone in front of that back four in order to provide a little more protection on those, changes of possession. When the phases, goes from them attacking to them defending, they didn't look nearly as good as we thought they might be. And it can't, or maybe Mexico was just very good at exploiting it.
It can't be Sami Khedira that they put in front of the back four, because Sami Khedira was, that's one of the worst individual performances of the tournament, I think, Khedira in that game. On the Mexican side, I thought Hector Herrera was the standout player by a country mile, just an absolutely magnificent performance, both in defence and in his use of the ball. Just superb. Like, dribbled his way out of trouble a load of time, completed 5 dribbles and 8 tackles in that game. That's like some Football Manager stats where you get a player who's got tackling 15 and creativity 15.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, really excellent in the middle of the park. Him and Guardado as well. Basically, in the transition, Khedira, Cruz and Ozil as well, who just couldn't be bothered to do any defending. Not an original thought, that one, is it? Just, really got overrun time and time again. But look, on paper, this Mexican side are nowhere near as good.
No.
Nowhere near as good man for man. But as a team, they looked much, much stronger than perhaps we imagined.
So Gallardo, the Mexican left-back, I think also worthy of special praise. Very, very fine performance from him. And Hirving Lozano, who we talked about in the preview. Everyone talked about Hirving Lozano in their Mexico preview, and he got his goal and really deserved it. And then when he came off, I thought Mexico really looked a lot worse. And he was the class of the field in an attacking sense by a good long way.
Nice little side story here. Rafael Marquez came on.
Amazing.
Now like 97 or whatever. Apparently, can't eat with his fellow pros or anything like that. Can't share water bottles because he's currently being investigated for being a drug mule for a Mexican cartel. You can make it up, could you?
He's captaining the side at a 5th World Cup. He made his debut before 98 and didn't go to 98 either, so could have gone to 6 World Cups. But still, captaining the side at 5 World Cups, pretty darn impressive.
Pretty darn impressive. And have we got any? We got Group G. We talked about a little bit the England game. Belgium very comfortable win over Panama. A couple of goals for Lukaku.
Oh, you've
chasing the golden boot.
You've skipped the other game in the
Sweden South Korea. That was pretty nondescript.
Yeah, South Korea don't look very good at all.
Neither do Sweden.
No, that's not. No, absolutely, yeah. But South Korea look even less good than Sweden. But I don't think. Germany, even though they lost, which is like losing your first game is absolutely massive, I don't think they're going to have too much problems against.
No, I think they'll beat Sweden, and then it should be comfortable against South Korea. But you never know. You lose your first game, you're in big trouble, aren't you?
And the thing about this, okay, so an Iranian has just tried to do a throw-in with a forward roll. That's
and it up.
That's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen at a World Cup. Like fair flipping play for trying that. But yeah, so I mean, this has big implications for England, of course, because it means that it's likely to be whoever tops the group that plays Germany. Because you would expect that if that Mexico side, I mean, I have to say, I'm not entirely convinced that Mexico are going to be able to do the same kind of job that they did against Germany, against those other two teams. Because
and I think I'm sure that Sweden or South Korea next will have seen that, and they are not going to be pushing forward in such great numbers and leaving spaces at the back. Of course not. We'll see whether Mexico's got a plan B other than playing on the counter.
And then this next game then brings us to England's group. So anyway, I was saying, because it does seem possible that Mexico will finish this on 9 points, and then Germany will be on 6, and whoever tops England's group will end up playing Germany in the next round as opposed to Mexico.
Well, fortunately, Belgium beat Panama 3-0, so we're going to come second on goal difference after a very boring 0-0 draw on Sunday night, right?
Yeah, maybe so.
Next Thursday when England play Belgium.
That first half of Belgium against Panama, Belgium looked like the kind of parody of Belgium almost. Like these very talented players that don't even look like they're on speaking terms with one another. Brilliant stuff come out from the Players' Tribune. Romelu Lukaku did a wonderful thing with them that came out that morning, and I was just like really rooting for him to do well in the game, partly because of that amazing article that came out, and partly because he's Romelu Lukaku, and I think of him as an extended family member, obviously. But
I'm sure it's almost certain to be true.
Yeah, but so then they really sorted themselves out in the second half, and all 3 Belgium goals are Lukaku. The first one isn't Fine Mertens goal, but the second 2 goals.
Fine Mertens goal.
Amazing Mertens goal.
Absolute worldie.
Yeah. Yeah, brilliant Mertens goal. But then it's De Bruyne, Hazard and Lukaku all linking up for the other goals, which is what they need.
Much better, yeah. They suffered some sort of jitters at the back now and again, but not much. I think Panama aren't much here. If England struggle with them, that would be concerning. I don't imagine it. And yeah, as you say, Belgium much better. But a nice story came out that Belgium had apparently attacking practice, shooting practice, competition between the players yesterday. So on Tuesday, the winner of this finishing practice was Marouane Fellaini. Second place, Adnan Januzaj.
That was one good moment for Adnan Januzaj in Belgian training, but there was a legendarily terrible moment for Adnan Januzaj. Do
you think him and Kevin De Bruyne have some issues?
How much does Kevin De Bruyne have to hate Adnan Januzaj to try and murder him in World Cup training?
That was a tackle that the Uruguayans from the 1986 World Cup, when they were playing Scotland, would have been embarrassed about. Absolutely smashes him.
And that has to be personal, right? I think there is every chance that Kevin De Bruyne is a bit of a what's it. I think that's bubbling under. And everything we hear about Adnan Januzaj behind the scenes is perhaps you can understand why he might put a more senior, very talented teammate's nose out of joint once in a while, but still, to try and maim him. Obviously, afterwards, they were all like, "Oh no, this is just the intensity that we play in our training games." Yes, but I don't think that was what it was.
If you play like that, he would have got a red card in a real game.
Yeah.
It was so late.
And
so late.
Just violent. I mean, we should also say that the Kevin De Bruyne's pass for Lukaku's first goal has to be like one of the moments of the tournament so far. Just the weight and perfection of that outside of the boot pass to Lukaku was something else.
All right, in the final group, Colombia, Japan, some drama in that one, and then Poland, Senegal, and finally an excellent performance from one of the African teams, because there hadn't been a lot before that, had there? So
I think they're the only African team to get even a point, right?
Yeah. So Colombia losing a man after 3 minutes, Japan scoring. Bit of drama, but then Colombia were actually pretty good with 10 men.
Yeah.
And I thought they earned their equaliser. Only for Japan to, they nearly scored. There was a big debate about VAR. It ended up being a corner, and then they scored from the corner. Something like that.
Yeah.
Can't remember exactly, yeah.
So the thing that I didn't understand about this, maybe somebody can explain this to me, is why Sanchez was sent off. Because I thought that the double jeopardy rule had gone, or for like clear goal scoring opportunities, or is it just such an egregious?
Triple jeopardy is gone, right? So he's not going to get a ban, is he? I don't actually.
No, I thought it was. I thought the whole thing is you get you're much less likely to get a red card and a penalty. Anyway, whatever he definitely. I mean, it was definitely a red card worthy offence, wasn't it? It was.
Listeners, write in, tell us what the actual rule is if you know.
Yeah.
Tweet
Cowboys.
United Rant. Yeah, it was. I mean, clear as anything penalty. He stuck his arm out. Shouldn't be there, and it's going in if he doesn't do that. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't exactly understand where the triple jeopardy rule change has come from. And then Kagawa with a kind of penalty that's going to make you really look stupid if the goalkeeper just stands still and puts his foot out.
Yeah, this is the kind of penalty that Leo Messi was trying to take, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a Messi penalty miss, right? I mean, again, I know we're because we don't get to do daily podcasts, we're a bit late to this, but maybe you haven't been reading and obsessively consuming World Cup content. But Messi is terrible at penalties. Well, no, Messi is almost exactly average at penalties. I read a really good article by Ewan McTear on Tifo Football about why Messi isn't very good at penalties and or at least why he's average at that when he's so good at everything else. But he shouldn't be on penalties for Argentina. Like, they definitely.
Well, how can he be bad? I mean, surely he can put at will the ball into the top corner.
Yeah, but not from the spot. Like, he misses around a quarter of his penalties. He's Rooney-esque.
Rooney-esque in his badness. Mo Salah, who I have to say, you've got to give the guy some props. He's come back from the dead in order to play in Egypt's second game because, he died in the Champions League final. That's the only explanation I get for the wailing, the national wailing, at least from Liverpool fans.
I thought you were going to go at the Egyptian people there, and I was going to say, I'm not having this, Ed.
No, not the Egyptian people, the Scouse people.
Right.
Scouse. The Egyptians are a fine set of people ruled by a brutal dictator. The Scouse... Well, not so fine set of people ruled by a brutal dictator.
Are you calling Jurgen Klopp a brutal dictator?
No, I was calling our current Prime Minister.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah, fair enough.
He stuck his penalty in the top corner. Very fine penalty. Ronaldo's struck very, very firmly. Fine penalty. Kagawa, pretty cool. You'd look silly if you missed it. And Messi, not so great at all. But we've had quite a few penalties, some VAR driven, but not very many red cards. Just that one so far, I think. Yeah,
which is kind of amazing. And then I wonder why that is. I wonder if it's just a kind of coincidence, people being a bit more cautious or whatever, or whether there's some, people have taken the referees' briefings and stuff seriously. Who knows?
What they haven't taken seriously is the edict to punish diving, because there's been quite a bit of diving.
It's hard to catch, though, isn't it? Not when you've got VAR, I guess, but I'm not sure that it's used for that. I want to talk about Senegal. Poland, I mean, that second goal, this is Roger Milla versus Rene Higuita, isn't it?
It's just absolutely totally legal. I mean, he's been given he's been given the nod by the referee to come on, and he's just come on and picked up the back pass. Just comical.
An amazing moment, just a glorious, glorious moment. Like one of my favourite moments of the World Cup so far, and the fact that Senegal won this game was massive, because I think we all thought that unless Mo Salah's Egypt had Salah at full fitness, that I guess Morocco probably would have been favoured to be the best African side in a very difficult group with a horrible match. Well, just a horrible first result that kind of ruined any chance. But Senegal are a very, very decent side, and it's really lovely to see that they're managed by Aliou Cissé, who we remember from playing in the Premier League, but also, I certainly remember from 2002 when they beat France. He was a huge part of that side. So it's just nice to see him on the touchline. Nice to see Senegal win that first game. And given that Japan beating Colombia is a massive upset, right? I'm not sure I would say that Poland losing to Senegal is a particularly massive upset, but I think, a lot of people thought Poland would go through second to Colombia in this group. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens next there.
Really is, yeah. And Senegal, they mix some very, very good players with some not very good players into a good unit.
Yeah.
And, Mane, I thought, had a captain's performance in that game. Diouf and Niang, his sort of support up front, both very good. Niang, big unit, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's gonna give a lot of defenders a lot of trouble there. And they were very solid through midfield, and they deserved their win. Cissé certainly enjoyed it, didn't he? I thought I was kind of almost felt a bit sad for Morocco, not just because they've lost and they're obviously a very good side and they're out, but they've also got the most beautiful manager in the World Cup in Hervé Renard. Objectively a very good looking fella.
Yes, it's inarguable, isn't it? It really is inarguable. I can't see that man without almost bursting into tears about Zambia winning the AFCON that time when their players were singing during the penalty shootout when they won it, and it was the greatest moment in football history.
What did they win that 12-10 in the penalty shootout or something?
Yeah, something like that. One of the interesting things we talked about, Ronaldo and Messi and Neymar and the kind of star man in the side, Mane was not playing at all like he thought he was the superstar of that side. It was a proper team performance from him. Very, very willing to kind of let other people do stuff, even though he obviously attracted a kind of an undue level of attention compared to the rest of the side. He was very prepared to kind of he was a willing runner, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's what I said. Captain's performance. It was all for the team, and he took players into space, and he created, and he ran, and very good performance. Interesting to see how that group finishes now, because it really could finish in any order.
So, where do you stand with your predictions then? Because we predicted the most predictable semi-finals possible, both of us the same.
Obviously, England are going to win their group and Germany are going to come second, and we're going to beat Germany and then Brazil and then Spain in the final. It's coming home.
It's coming home, lads. The cat is well and truly among the footballing pigeons, isn't it? We didn't talk about Peru, Denmark.
We sort of brushed over it.
That is maybe the most upsetting game of the tournament so far for me. Not got anything against Denmark. I really like Christian Eriksen. They've got a Schmeichel goal. What's not to love about that? But I was just heartbroken that Peru couldn't do it. Their fans have absolutely, all the stories, something like 50,000 people from Peru, people selling their cars. One guy put on a load of weight so he could get discounted fat people seats.
Oh, jeez. Surely he spent the money in eating.
Maybe not. You can put on the calories pretty cheaply, I think it's fair to say. But yeah, and they looked really bright. They looked at it in that first half. And then it just felt so cruel that Denmark won that game, and it's going to be real big uphill struggle for Peru now, because having 3 points on the board in that is such a big edge in campaigning to be the team that comes second to Didier Deschamps' France.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's it for the games. Favourite goal so far?
Well, just there was the games today as well, right? We've got the Portugal-Morocco game, the Uruguay-Saudi Arabia game, and the Iran-Spain game. Not much to say about any of those, really, except Ronnie scored again and has basically got the Golden Boot locked up already. Costa's on 3, though, isn't he?
There's only 4 goals. Yeah, exactly. Costa's on 3. Harry Kane's on 2. He's got Panama to come.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Lukaku's on 2, but he's already had Panama. But he's got Tunisia to come. It's going to be fascinating to see that. I mean, my favourite goal by far was Harry Kane's winner against Tunisia. Like, I went absolutely mad for that goal. I celebrated that like cannot remember the last time I cared about an England goal that much. It's been a really long time. But yeah, I went absolutely mad. It was probably Beckham's penalty against Argentina in 2002, the last time I cared about an England goal that much. Oh no, that's not true. Danny Welbeck, the flick between his, when he was still a United player, to get an equaliser against Sweden in whenever that was. The one behind his legs, the Zup Seynado one. That was...
Yeah.
But no, apart from that, the Nacho goal, Ronaldo's... Dries Mertens, Pogba, who definitely meant to loop the ball off the Australian guy into the top corner.
Totally. Yeah. It's been some good stuff. I think there have been some poor quality games, but I think overall it's pretty high. The goal count's quite low.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if there's an obvious reason for that. I mean, obviously, you've got a kind of squeezing of the quality gap, in that some of the worst sides can hold their own. You know, only Saudi Arabia got absolutely battered. Panama weren't that great, but still
they got battered in the second half. They got properly battered in the second half.
Yeah, so for the most part, it's pretty even all around, which is probably one of the reasons why the goal count has dropped a little bit. Actually, I mean, one of the edicts has been that linesmen shouldn't call marginals because that'll go to VAR anyway. You'd think that that might have helped the goal count, but it hasn't really.
That's what happened in the Spain-Iran game, isn't it? That it wasn't flagged because it was fairly marginal. I mean, I wonder whether actually a big part of the reason for the low goal count has been a relatively low attacking quality. So if you think about the games, so there's been a handful of like quite dull games: Costa Rica against Serbia, Portugal, Morocco. Maybe not that one actually, but Uruguay. Certainly, every game Uruguay have been involved in has been absolutely terrible so far. But not that, and Sweden, South Korea. That's probably the only boring games. But then, like Argentina struggled with quality to overcome Iceland. Germany obviously struggled with quality, and Mexico were really wasteful. That contributed to that score line staying down. Switzerland kicked Brazil to a 1-1. France let everyone down. Portugal and Spain, they had so much attacking quality and they showed it. I mean, Spain have only beaten Iran 1-0, but Iran were putting literally like 9-10 men behind the ball for most of the game. So 1-0's perfectly fine there. So I think in general, it's a lack of attacking quality that's kept the score lines down.
Bodes well for the 4018 World Cup in 50-degree heat in Qatar. Awesome.
I'm not getting cynical about the World Cup right now, though, because I am in full just plug it straight into my veins mode. I think I've worked out that I can watch 12 games over the next 4 days, and I'm absolutely buzzing. Like, I think I'm going to watch every one.
You should do it. I'm going to miss a few because I think I'll manage to watch most of the first 2 games tomorrow in between travelling. Mm-hmm. I'll miss the third one, and then I'm going to miss most of the late games for the next week or so because I'll be in China 7 hours ahead. So it's hard to start a game at 2 a.m, got to say. Yeah,
memories of Ivory Coast against Greece in the last World Cup.
So, but then I'm back for the second round, so that's all good.
Yeah, we're the next 4 days are kind of one of the reasons that I'm kind of committing myself to watching all these games is because I know I'll regret it when it comes to Monday and there's only 2 games on the television. It's like, I mean, it's a good rule. You have to play the final group games at the same time, obviously, but it does hurt when there stops being 3 games a day on.
Well, you can put both of them on at the same time, of course, which is what I fully intend to do.
But you don't. It's not like it's not the same. It's not. I'd rather watch 3 games separately than 4 games with 2 of them concurrent. I wanted to send a very special thanks to Stu Robinson, who has. He doesn't use Twitter, but he's a long-time listener, and he contacted me, and he said, "I'm not on Twitter, but can you ask Ed which his favourite Hey Dougie badge is?"
the Russian doping badge.
Stu was kind enough to send through his band's track Russia, which you'll hear as we play out this show. We were supposed to only be playing out with bad songs, but Stu sent us a good one. So I don't know about bad songs. Iconic World Cup anthems like that Hey Dougie Kick It song. I've kind of had that song stuck in my head a little bit, Ed. It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Kicky.
90s banger.
The thing that's a bit disappointing, though, is I've discovered it's just like a reskin of a previous song that just went sticky. It was the same. Hey Dougie are like recycling their material.
Well, I mean, that's every Hey Dougie show, you know.
What, all the songs end, they're all the same?
No. The stories are basically the same. They do an activity.
Yeah.
Making something, cooking something, doing something,
right.
And then they get their something badge.
Nice. Talking of, I can't think of a good segue. Talking of the World Cup, what do you think is going to happen then? Who is your current picks to go through from all the groups? Obviously, we know Russia and Uruguay are going through from Group A. That's confirmed.
Probably, yeah.
No,
probably.
They've both got 6 points.
Oh, they both got 6 points.
Yeah. There's nothing probably about it.
Yeah, so yes, Russia, Uruguay, and then I guess Portugal, Spain. I mean, Iran can certainly do something.
It's
although
going to be fascinating, isn't it? Because Iran are playing Portugal last, aren't they?
Iran are playing Portugal last, and they will have to give it a go, and I'm sure they will give it a go. Although they're not necessarily a really expansive side. Neither are Portugal, of course. So it'll be a tight one.
I think describing Iran as not necessarily a really expansive side is like when I said that the Dries Mertens goal was fine.
Yeah, they're quite negative, but so are Portugal. France, Denmark, you'd bank them as pretty hot favourites now, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Australia, not very good side. They put up a good fight against France, but there wasn't an awful lot to them. And Peru actually played pretty well against Denmark, so they can do something against Australia, but you wouldn't expect them to do anything against France. So that looks like France, Denmark.
You wouldn't be. I would not be shocked at all if Deschamps absolutely blows this from here on out. Like, I'm not saying I think that's definitely going to happen or anything, but if somehow, like Denmark, you could easily see France messing up against Denmark. But yeah, anyway, we'll see. The Peru game tomorrow will tell a tale of that one. That might have happened by this point.
So Zidane should just go to the World Cup and sit behind Deschamps, as the man in waiting.
Yeah, they should have given him the Spain job, really, is what they should have done.
Yeah, I know. Croatia, Iceland, Argentina, Nigeria. Well, Nigeria was so disappointing. I just don't know how you recover from that kind of performance. Whether they can really go again. I'm not sure I believe it, but I don't know how to pick two from Iceland, Croatia, Argentina. It matters a lot what happens between Croatia and Iceland. So Argentina next, because Iceland playing Nigeria. There's no guarantee that they get a result there, but given the momentum they got with that draw against Argentina, you make the marginal favourites, and Croatia, Argentina's going to be really close.
Imagine if Messi doesn't get out of the group stages and Ronaldo wins the Golden Boot.
Wow. Wow. Serbia, Brazil, Switzerland, Costa Rica.
It's
going to be tight.
So hard to pick.
Switzerland got a good draw though, and I think they're probably just a better side than Serbia, but only just.
I mean, and Serbia have got 3 points in the bag, because it's not like Costa Rica couldn't do something. I think kind of confidently calling that for Switzerland and Brazil. I wouldn't.
I'm not confidently calling. I'm marginally calling.
Okay,
marginally, because Serbia basically got to match that result now, so they've got to not lose to Brazil.
Yeah, I guess so. Although it depends. Well, it depends what happens between Serbia and
which is of course a big assumption. But since I got Costa Rica in the World Cup in the work sweeps, No, I got Costa Rica in the work suites and Tunisia in the full-time Devils suites. Absolutely stuffed on both fronts there.
Surely the really big one here is Switzerland against Serbia. Like that's going to be the defining game, isn't it? So fascinating.
But Switzerland could get away with a draw there, basically, I think. Sweden, Mexico, South Korea, Germany. You can't imagine Germany going to be as bad again. Too many good players, qualified comfortably enough. Just too many good players to play that badly again.
Do you think we're going to be in a kind of Spain 2010 situation where the kind of, mind you, no, Spain 2010, like they played all right against Switzerland in that opening game. I think.
Yeah, then it got mega thumped. I don't see this with Germany. I think they'll bounce back. I don't think Sweden are that good. I think Germany will beat Sweden next time out.
Sorry, I meant Spain 2010 when they lost their first game and then went on to win the World Cup.
Right.
That's what I was saying, because I'm not convinced. It feels like Germany's problems, I mean, the fact they didn't take Leroy Sané is just looking like such a terrible decision right now, isn't it?
Well, not that Draxler was bad. I mean, he played off the left and,
but, I mean, wouldn't you really have wanted a player like Sané to be able to come on in that game? Anyway, I think Belgium and England, and now that England have navigated their way past Tunisia, I mean, that's such a... If that had been a draw, it would have all been so nervy and horrible. But instead, Sir Harry, England's first brace... Do you know when the last time England got a brace? An England player got a brace at the World Cup, was it?
Gary Lineker against Cameroon in 1990.
1990, a very, very long time ago. And I think that's the first time England have won their opening group game for about 100 years or something as well. So
yeah.
Massive.
They'll beat Panama, and then we'll see what happens between England and Belgium. But I'm pretty confident that Belgium and England are going through from that group.
Yeah, the only group so far where the two teams that you'd think, yeah, this is nailed on, look basically nailed on now. I mean, I guess you could say Spain, Portugal, but I don't know, that Portugal-Iran game could do all sorts of bits. And then, the final group is just like, I guess, the final group is just throw a bunch of cards up in the air and see what lands.
I don't know how to call that one. Big games coming up in the second round, which might change everything. I mean, Colombia and Poland are definitely not out of this.
I've just realised I made a big mistake earlier, because I was thinking about Germany in relation to the team that England will play in the next round. But of course, they don't play anyone from that group in the next round. It's who gets to the quarterfinals. So right. So what we ideally want is for someone other than Germany to top that group, and England finish second in their group and beat whoever they play from Group H and get to the quarterfinals against someone other than Germany or Brazil. That'd be good. It opens up the draw in a very different way at that point.
We'll see. You've got to beat what's in front of you and all of that,
It's coming home.
If England had to beat Germany, Brazil and then Spain to win the World Cup, that's just what's going to happen.
So be it.
Marcus is winning the Golden Boot too.
All right. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. Backers, stay tuned. We've got some bonus content for you. And I hope everyone's really enjoying the World Cup as much as we are. And like Ed said earlier, we're not 100% sure when we'll be back with another episode, but we will as soon as he gets back from China.
All right. Speak to you then.
And the World Cup Rantcasts, like all the Rantcasts, are brought to you by the good people who choose to back us over at patreon.com/rantcast. We choose to crowdfund the show so that we don't ever run adverts, mostly because I don't like the kind of adverts that often run on football podcasts. But hey, that's a rant for another time. If you choose to back the show at a $5 plus VAT a month or above level, you get a little bit of extra bonus content. And this week, we decided to rate all the World Cup pundits.
Roy Keane 2 grades, right? He gets an A for style because it's entertainment. It's an entertainment medium. But his technical points are about a C or a D because he really doesn't really actually say that much. No,
he just wants football to be like he thinks football should be. And it's never going to be that again.
Someone who's getting F for style and substance is, I'm afraid, Ryan Giggs. There's just nothing there. The 1,000-yard stare is there's just nothing there.
He did He did one really good. So they haven't let him in the studio very often, but I can't remember what game it was. Maybe it was Russia-Saudi Arabia, actually, the opening game. And he did a VT with Eni Aluko and, not a VT, but an in-stadium bit with Jackie Oakley and Eni Aluko. He looked really alive. Like, clearly the key is put him with women. Because then he feels like he has to perform. He has to kind of do, and he was up for it, and maybe he was just excited it was the first game of the World Cup or whatever. But it was nice to see Ryan
stick him on the pitch with some ladies, and he'll go for it.
Yeah,
and do good punditry. Yeah, but most of the time he's just talking. He's saying nothing. He mostly repeats the question.
Yeah,
back as the answer, and then he went on this one lengthy ramble. My grandfather used to tell stories, and you're never quite sure when the end would come. It's one of those ones you're like, is this the end? Is this the end? He's a lovely man, but he liked a long story.
Yeah.
So does Ryan Giggs. He's going to be a very, very boring granddad.
To a complicated web of grandchildren from various different lineages, but let's not get into that. Eni Aluko, there was one big brouhaha featuring Aluko and Evra, and I haven't seen it, so I can't comment. Like, Evra applauded her.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.